Hey everybody, my name is Sam Pedro, and today I'm talking about the book A Disciple's Life, which was written by Bruce C. Hafen and is about Elder Neal A. Maxwell, who was a member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I'm really excited to talk about this book today. I want to share a few things I learned and a few takeaways from Elder Maxwell. And I will say that this is probably my favorite biography I've ever read about a general authority from the church. The reason I loved it so much is that I found Elder Maxwell to be very relatable. And as you see in the book, the changes in the way he progresses throughout his life, I just found that to be relatable and approachable. In many ways, he was just a normal man who, little by little, made small changes every day and tried to better himself every day. And after a lifetime of doing that, he became quite extraordinary. The first thing I want to talk about is about adversity and trials. And Elder Maxwell had some tremendous trials in his life. And he learned through these trials, and the lessons he learned, he applied for the rest of his life. There are two really big trials that the book highlights. First was when he was fighting in World War II, and second, his 8-year battle with leukemia. And both of these had tremendous impacts on his life and the way he viewed life. During World War II, he fought in the Battle of Okinawa, and the book talks about the experience he had there. And one night, he's sitting in a foxhole, and artillery blasts are going off, feet away from him. And he could tell by the way that the blasts were happening that the enemy had triangulated his location, and that, the next blast was going to come right where he was. And so he got on his knees and he pled with God to spare his life, and that if his life would be spared, that he would devote his life to following God. And that was a promise with God that he tried to keep the rest of his life as he devoted his life to following God. And for the remainder of his life, he kept a picture of what was called Flat Top Hill in Okinawa, where he was, as a reminder of the promise he made that night. It's interesting to me to think about him going through this trial and experiencing something a lot of us will never see and never really fully understand or grasp. But for him, this intense trial equated and translated into a life of devotion and service to God. The second trial was his 8-year battle with leukemia, and I won't talk too much about it. The book does a really good job, though, of explaining it, what he went through and what he learned. But at one point, he talks about how he felt God had given him leukemia so that he could teach God's people with authenticity. And after he got leukemia, he learns how to face adversity well. But probably the thing he learns the most is he starts to focus more on ministering to individuals who have struggled with cancer, and with those who have family members who are struggling through cancer. The second thing I want to talk about, and this actually was just from one sentence, and so Elder Neal A. Maxwell, he read a lot. He also wrote a lot. And at one point, the book describes his reading as speed reading, nugget hunting. And I really liked that phrase. It really resonated with me. And I try to read a lot. I try to read 2 to 3 books a week. And, I think of that as speed reading. But I also think my approach is nugget hunting. And I used to feel kind of guilty reading so fast. That maybe I wasn't digesting enough from the books, and that, a part of me felt like maybe I needed to know everything from a book or everything the book was trying to teach me. But that's not the way Elder Maxwell approached reading books. If he read a book and he found one great idea or one phrase or one principle that really just stuck with him, that was enough. And so I really like that phrase, speed reading and nugget hunting. I really think that's a great approach to reading and to learning. Just constantly filling your mind with great ideas, and when those really, really great ideas come up, snatching them and keeping them forever. The third and final thing I want to share is his writing and the way he writes. Elder Maxwell probably has the most unique voice of any general authority. No one really speaks like him, and I don't know if anyone ever will speak like Elder Maxwell. And in the book, it talks about his process of writing and how he refines his writing. And it doesn't come about by accident. He works really hard, and he worked really hard throughout his lifetime to develop his unique voice. It started when he was a kid, and he began his love for reading and for poetry. And during this time as a kid is when he learned, the power of a well-turned phrase, one that's memorable, that, something that we can constantly remember. It has the power to really teach principles. And not only that, but we also don't forget them as easily. So in many ways, that's what he was striving to do with his writing. And he worked hard for that, to make, these phrases memorable. And like I mentioned, he was looking for nuggets as he read. And so when he was reading and an idea stuck out with him, he'd jot it down. Or if he saw a phrase in the scriptures he liked, he'd write that down. And he would begin to toy with these ideas about how he could put it into a speech or a talk. And in July of every year, he would look at every talk he had given, everything he had written, and also all these ideas he had collected. And he would choose the best ones, and he would build those ideas out even more and write a book. And throughout the course of his lifetime, he actually wrote 30 books. But I really liked his approach. I think it's something that I will try to emulate as well. That idea of, reading, collecting ideas, refining those ideas, writing them out, and then really writing out and building out the best of those ideas. Elder Maxwell did such a great job at integrating what he was learning with what his interests were, and using those to teach others. I've only read one of Elder Maxwell's books, but I've been planning on reading more now. But yeah, if you have a favorite book of his, or if you have a favorite quote from Elder Maxwell, drop it in the comments below. I would love to read them. Those were my 3 takeaways from the book. The book offers a lot more, and I highly recommend it. I loved learning about Elder Maxwell. Such a great man on so many levels. The way he taught, the way he spoke, but most importantly, the way he lived his life. I can say that, kindness and charity were the foundation of his life. I recommend this book to everybody, especially if you're a member of my church. I think Elder Maxwell is such a great example to follow and to learn from. And I hope you all have a good day.